Kent read, Kent write, Kent State.
That's perfect.
Shout out to the Golden Flashes. All right. Episode 60. It's March.
We made
baby. It's March. The madness is here. It's time to fucking dive into it. We're going to get real nerdy today. Bob in Detroit, Jack in Detroit, Mike in Chicago. You're not.
Hey,
gonna
why
be
do
nerdy.
I
Don't
always
worry.
go last on the? Why do I always go last on them? Bob in here with Mike there.
Because
fuck?
if I put you,
My
in the
name's
middle,
on the
it sounds
logo,
weird.
bro.
Bob in
Bullshit.
Detroit, Mike in Chicago, Jack in Detroit just doesn't sound right, really.
Jack, or you could say Bob and Jack in Detroit. Whatever.
I could say that.
Whatever.
All right, I'll try to clean it up.
Dude.
If you want your name
Fucking-
taken off the marquee, we could do that too.
Name's on the logo, bro. And I go last? Come on.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'll start trying to put you in there. Okay.
You just say me first, because I'm
No.
No, well, I gotta say me first.
Jack in Detroit, Bob
No,
and Mikey
definitely.
probably somewhere in between.
Definitely not.
All right, anyway.
Our most watched podcast is the one without you on it.
That's actually true. I think
How are we gonna put you on the marquee?
I think all of our top 5 are without me because our first 3 episodes were popping off. And I
Yeah,
wasn't
but those
included in
were
any of them.
that was
YouTube.
out of
YouTube
novelty,
loved us.
though. Yeah, that was because our friends were like, "Hey, what is this?"
Yeah.
Psych.
It was a
Anyways.
novelty. Yeah, and then 100-ish of them stuck around. We appreciate you
Yeah.
guys.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's tournament day. We're gonna get into some more sports stuff first. But the big thing today is gonna be I'm gonna give you guys some trends. I'm gonna give you some upset teams, some teams to kind of look out for, and then I'll throw my Final Four at you too. We can have Mike. You can. I'll show you the bracket, and you can throw your Final Four around too.
I also
Nice.
have something to talk about pre that jazz. I got something to
sports
tell
related.
you guys. No, not at all. That's why I want to
All
get
right,
it out of the way
Let's
first.
do this first then.
Okay. So, all right. And I apologize for all of our audio listeners and actually YouTube as well. I practically live on top of the highway. And so if you hear any cars driving by, that's going to be the reason. But anyways, I read up on some jazz the other day. I was bored as hell at work per usual. And, but I was looking at this thing. It's called the Prisoner's Dilemma. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of this, Bob?
Yes.
It's insane. So the way it works is there are 2 bank robbers, right? And they both get caught in the act robbing a bank, right? So they get brought in and interrogated in separate rooms, okay? And the cops don't have a crazy amount of evidence to support putting either of them in jail. So they're relying on pretty much one of them defecting and tattling on the other, okay? And the premise of this whole story is that people for some reason in society, and it's not even just the common public, it's politicians and warlords and presidents and pretty much everybody in between, we all for some reason we choose to do things in a way that ends up harming both parties. Instead of cooperating, we choose to defect and undermine the other person, and it ends up making both people's situation worse. The big the big example that people use for the prisoner's dilemma is the Cold War, and it's because the United States and Russia constantly were just doing shitty things towards each other behind each other's back, acting like neither of them knew. That was the espionage capital of our timeline, was the 1980s. And so anyways, the way it goes is that if one of them,
our timeline, none of us were alive in the 80s.
well, I mean, human beings,
Okay.
not ours.
All right. Okay.
But anyways, so these bank robbers are both getting interrogated in different rooms, okay? And if they both cooperate with each other and say nothing, they're both getting put in jail for 1 year, okay? So that's 2 years of total jail time, all right?
Right.
Now, let's say one person defects and tattles, and the other person cooperates and doesn't tattle. The person who cooperates gets 5 years because they're lying, and the other person gets 0, and vice versa. But what ends up happening is that they both defect, they both try to undermine each other, and then they both get sentenced to 3 years in jail.
Because they both tattle. So it's
Right.
a total of 6.
Right. So I don't know. I just think it's crazy because your best bet is to defect and get 0. You know, you have to expect that you're either getting 0 or 3, or you can cooperate and you know you're getting 1.
You have to assume the worst of the other person.
Exactly.
Look at that.
I don't know. Shit's crazy, man. I
Well-
just thought it was super interesting because it applies to so many things, dude. Like that's just literally how people are. And I think it's fantastic.
Hey, dude, if we did this more than once a week, we'd have one nerdy episode every week because I love shit like that.
It's great.
We'd have a Jack episode where Jack just leads it every week. If you guys want that, let us know. Jack and I will record that on Sundays.
You can call it something different. You can call it
Like
not fair enough. Like literally, that's the name of the episode. Not fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. NFL free agency happened. The Bears traded the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
What are our
literally
thoughts here?
Literally the day after I was saying last week, I was like, oh, is Poles the guy? What do we do? This and the other thing.
Yep.
He went and totally redeemed himself.
Boy, did he ever put his dick on the table this whole week.
Yeah, I mean, he did exactly what most Bears fans wanted to see. I mean, he said, let's get offense in terms of the draft. And then, I mean, DJ Moore that's an outlier, but like he said, okay, we're going to draft offense and we're going to try and buy defense. And it's like, it worked out. He had to do one or the other where he either bought O-line or he bought defense, and he bought 2 very good defensive players. Total of fucking 400 tackles last year.
Yep. TJ Edwards is a dog, dude. That's the guy that
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him become a Lion. So like, I was super pissed at the Bears. He's in our division now.
Yeah, and I mean Edmonds is a stud. Or he's good. I wouldn't necessarily say he's an absolute stud, but he's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bought a guy who blocked for fucking Derrick Henry for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're that guy's getting 100 or 1,500 yards a fucking year. The guy, he's got to be somewhat decent as an O lineman. So, yeah, I'm thrilled, dude. I'm stoked. That was fucking phenomenal. And DJ Moore's a fucking dog.
I agree. Every get they had, I was like, damn, that's another big one for the Bears. You hate to see it if you're a Lions fan like me, but their come up's going to be a little bit quicker than people thought, I think, because Poles is ready to spend the money, and we didn't think that they'd be smart enough to do that. So,
yeah, I mean, he's still got a draft though. He still has to make moves. You still got to make a good draft, and then, yeah, I mean, we need something to stick though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with the draft. So it's like you can draft the biggest name on the fucking market and it not fucking stick. So
it's got to be the right guy.
Yeah, I'm excited as fuck though.
How do you feel about the division as a whole now, especially with everything going on? I mean, it seems like the Vikings are kind of selling house. The Packers are obviously selling house. I mean, what are your thoughts on the NFC North?
You know what's weird is that this is going to sound really dumb, but I can still see the Vikings winning this division next year. I don't know how, I don't know why, but and this is nothing against the Lions. I swear, I don't mean to be talking shit, but I can see the Lions regressing. Not that I think they're going to, but like this team, it's young enough. It's not exactly proven enough. It's it's a lot of young guys, a lot of guys who aren't exactly like perennial players. Like Goff, he's clearly had his downfall. Like there's guys like that on this team where I can see them taking a step back and everyone thinks that they're probably the odds-on favorite at this point to win the division. But I don't think the Bears are good enough yet to win the division, just to be honest. Even if we do draft well, I still think we're fighting for a wild card at best.
Yeah.
So I can still kind of see the Vikings making it happen if, you know, they get lucky and we're kind of like the NFC South this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that
Um,
too. I've been thinking about that and still been worried about that.
mhm.
And I mean, if you look at the Lions, this is a team that basically won 0 games the first half of the season last year. So who the fuck
Yeah.
knows what's going to happen next year? Like,
Yeah,
just because we
exactly.
finished really strong, that doesn't mean we're going to come back and start really strong again.
Yeah.
We should on paper. Everything looks great, but this is still the Lions. We're cautiously optimistic in Detroit.
And I, another thing too about that is like, yeah, they finished strong and like they're fighting for a playoff spot, but like the NFC wasn't that good last year. Like there was a lot of decent
No,
teams, but nobody was overpowering it.
it's
Overpowering.
not going to be good again. Like, it's
Exactly.
going to be up in the
That's the
air again
thing.
this year.
Yeah. So it's
Hey,
kind of
who's
like
that? Sorry, Mike. I thought you
no,
were
no,
done.
no.
Who's
no.
that cornerback that we picked up today? Or maybe it was yesterday.
So we got 2 corners. I was going to get to that at some point, but we got 2 corners. We got Emmanuel Mosley from San Fran. Tore his ACL last year, but before he did that, he was holding quarterbacks to like a 63 passer rating. Just a good anybody on defense that you get from the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to want. That's
Yeah.
Are
what they
either
do.
of these guys, here's my question, are either of these guys like lockdown backs?
Cam Sutton is. I think
Okay.
Mosley could be. Cam Sutton's a top 25 PFF graded corner. He's technically a nickel corner, but if you're not running the nickel in the NFL, you're probably fucking behind. So everybody needs that guy. He's immediately our best corner by, if you're just looking at PFF, by like 40 spots. So he's a lot better than anybody that we have playing corner right now, which is great. And then Mosley, I think if he comes back healthy, we took a shot and took a chance with this guy. That's going to be he'll be our second best corner. Like, we just completely upgraded the room, which we needed to do because unfortunately Okuda didn't pan out the way that we thought he would. He's not the number one lockdown guy that we were hoping he was going to be. So we got to find help elsewhere. And they dipped into 2 of the best defenses historically in the league in San Fran and in Pittsburgh. So I mean, cross our fingers, hope that things work out, and like Mike said, we don't regress this year on defense at least.
Yeah,
But
I mean, back to the division too. It's just the fact of the matter that, like we were just talking about, is that the NFC is there is literally 15 teams in the NFC that can get a wild card spot, not make the playoffs. I'm not talking can legitimately be in a wild card spot. You know what I mean? Like it. There's not many. I mean, maybe San Fran is the only. Like okay, that's dead red. They're probably gonna win the division, but
yep.
I mean,
Other than that,
the Eagles have
maybe
lost
the Eagles, but the Giants
they've
got
lost
better.
The Cowboys are kind of just the same, and you never
Yep.
know. Like they're, like literally the whole South is a fucking crapshoot.
Nobody could win the South if they tried hard enough.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, literally. And I mean, and the North is I right now I think is just as much of a crapshoot with a little more talent, maybe, but it's still, you never know. I think the only teams right now that I can see like legitimately not fucking competing are. Depending on did the Commanders pick up quarterback yet?
I don't
No,
think that
right?
they did. No.
No.
They lost
So I think
Heineke's elsewhere, and then
Yeah,
Wentz obviously
yeah,
elsewhere.
yeah. I can see the Commanders and the Panthers are like the only 2 teams that I can see, maybe the Falcons, that are like absolutely no chance to me at least. But I unless the Panthers hit fucking gold with Stroud, you know what I mean?
I know that you don't want to do this, and this
What?
could be. I mean, this really could bite us in the ass here, just me saying this, but I almost want to put the Packers in that group because of Jordan Love.
Okay.
First year quarterback. They lost. I mean, they lost their franchise. Obviously, they bring people back, but like their team wasn't that good last year. That's the problem, and you can't lose your best player and then become good.
My thing is, I don't know if Jordan Love has had a fair evaluation. I
don't think he has.
I can kind of in my head, you know who I'm comparing Jordan Love to right now
Who?
is Trey Lance.
You think so?
I
Just in
don't
a
think
kind of
Trey
a
Lance
different
is
way.
kind of, but like I don't think for one he was drafted kind of way higher than he probably should have been.
Mhm.
He's fucking taking in a team that is notoriously a winner. They're both kind of dealing. Granted, Trey Lance is on injury shit, but like people think that fucking the kid who the fuck's the kid that took him to the playoffs last year for San Fran.
Brock Purdy.
There's people out here that think Brock Purdy that should be his job.
Yeah.
Like it's
That's what it
it's just
sounds
like
like, that they're, like, already moved on, like, it is Brock Purdy's job. Like,
and
that's
that's the shit
the way that
where it's
people
like
talk
this is
about it.
crazy.
That is
So it's
crazy.
like I mean, like I don't know, like you don't know if he's good, you don't know if he's bad, but like he's kind of not getting his shot, but not. And I don't think he's got a very short or a very long leash, Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is if you're not good this year, you're fucking done, son. Which I don't blame him, but it's like it's kind of tough to like you said, they trade away their franchise, and now everyone that is kind of going with them, their defense isn't as good as it was a couple years ago, and like I I still think the Packers, you never know. I think it's one of those teams sneaky in a kind of a weird division. You never know. They can squeak out some games against all three of those division teams. They might go 3-3 in the division just because of the weird rivalries within it and the lack of consistency out of our whole division.
Yeah. I
Fuck,
think
they might
that's
beat the
fair.
Bears twice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, and shit, they'll probably get a pretty easy schedule, right? Or no? No, we'll probably be
They were
middle of the
second
pack
in the
this year.
division. Who,
Yeah,
the Bears or
yeah.
the Pack?
No,
You're
the
saying the Pack,
Packers.
right? Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
play all the seconds, which won't
Yeah,
be their
but don't they
favorite, but
we who what division did we pull this year? 'Cause like didn't like last year we played the whole East. Like all of us play every team played the East.
yeah, isn't it the West this year? Yeah, because no, I'm sorry, I was thinking of AFC West.
I don't know. Either way though, you never know. If we get a easy like if they get an easy schedule,
Yeah,
you never know. So but I could see where you're coming with. I can see that team being thrown in there. Um, but yeah, I literally think that 12 of the 16 teams in the NFC could end up in a wild card spot without like being funny about it. Like I genuinely think that.
yeah. No, it's going to be a hell of a year in the NFC, the NFC North. We'll see what keeps happening. The other notable thing, before we get off the NFL and move into some tournament talk, is Alex Anzalone got re-signed for the Lions, which is kind of I would almost. It's tough because I love Anzalone as a human. And I think that the locker room loves Anzalone as a human. And I know that the coaches love Anzalone as a human, a captain, a leader. And then we saw the stats, that people were throwing out. Justin Rogers, who's a Lions beat writer, was throwing out. Like, Anzalone had a good year. He had 125 tackles. He had 7 QB hurries, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, he started all 17 games.
Yeah,
Insert
it's
name. Insert name
yeah,
here. Starts all 17
yeah,
games, gets those stats. It's like
of course.
the Lions fans, and I was part of this early on in this, even at the end of the season, I was part of this. We don't believe that we're good enough the next year or the next couple of years to be good to make a run ever. Right? So we think of building a team like the Patriots build a team. And that's not fucking realistic. No team
Yeah.
should think like that because building a dynasty is not realistic unless you get a guy like Patrick Mahomes or somebody like that where it's like, okay, we have a shot every single year for the next 10 years. Like most teams don't get that. You get the
No.
Rams. Okay, we're going to get a guy. Let's win this thing now and let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like that's how it kind of works in the NFL unless you get a guy. So Lions fans, some are excited about the Anzalone thing because it's like, okay, well, like a guy like Levante David or a guy like Bobby Wagner doesn't want to come to Detroit. Well, why not? Like, why
Yeah.
are we why aren't we good enough? We are good enough. We just need to go out there and ask the questions. And I know that Brad Holmes is doing that. Like, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm saying that the fan base more so is kind of stuck in this, like, we're not there yet. When it's like, we could be there, guys. We got the cap.
yeah.
There's talent on this team. The division's as open as it's ever been in our lifetime. There is no Favre. There is no Rodgers. There is no Dante Culpepper. Like, there's no Randy Moss. There's nobody left. You
And
know?
it, not only it's like once again, not only the division, it's the whole conference. It's the whole
NFC as
goddamn
a whole.
conference.
Absolutely.
It's there's so many ways to get in there, and fuck, you get hot at one point, bro. You know, you squeak in as the fucking 8 seed, you win your wild card game, and all of a sudden you're hot. You dude, look at Brock Purdy, bro. Like, I know that he got fucked, but like there was not a hotter team in the world, and they're playing with a fucking 100th pick in the draft. Like,
Right.
you get hot with the right squad. You know, you let your fucking O-line, your strength, talking about the Lions, fucking anchor your ass down in the run game, and you fucking never know. I mean, look what they did last year in the last 10 weeks of the season. It's like, dude, why can't that happen again?
Yeah.
Except going into the playoffs this time.
Why
You know what I
can't we
mean?
make
Like,
the defense better to help the
Exactly.
offense and make everybody feel better? Like, I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so the Jalen Ramsey situation, for example, the Lions
Which-
reached out to Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey didn't want to
he
come
said
here
no.
because he wanted to go to Miami. I'm assuming he wanted to live in Florida. He wanted his money. He's already got a bowl ring.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get a guy like that just won a Super Bowl. He just wants to go where he's going to go, collect his money. He's not chasing anything anymore.
My thing, dude, I don't want to get off of the Lions right now, but like I'm so confused on some of these trades that have happened today for guys who are really good at football for like 3rd round picks.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's like a petty thing. I assume that you're like one of the ones is Darren Waller that you're thinking of.
Darren Waller, Stephon Gilmore, fucking
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, especially 3rd round. How is that? Like, dude, we got Chase Claypool for the fucking for the 32nd pick in the draft.
Right.
Like, how the fuck did like
Yeah,
give
how
me
did they
Jalen
get-
Ramsey? Like, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I can't.
Yeah, we
my
don't
head is
want
blowing up
Claypool
right now.
anymore. We
That's
want
what I'm
somebody else.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck is this happening? Where this is like these guys are getting traded for fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
When there are like legitimate players getting fucking. I doesn't.
I think it's guys
confused.
that just want to be out of their situation, like Gilmore totally lateral move. I mean, the Colts suck, don't get me wrong. The Cowboys
Yeah.
aren't like lighting the world on fire though. I'm sure he wasn't like, I want to be in Dallas. Like, this is where I've always wanted to play.
But
I mean,
like, are you sure? Because
I don't know. Or
But
was there
honestly,
a tiff
though-
between Stephon Gilmore and the Colts? I don't know. From what I heard about the Waller situation, just really quick, was that him and McDaniels weren't seeing eye to eye. And that's why he was like, get me the fuck out.
Yet they fucking franchise tag Josh Jacobs when that guy literally made it seem like he wanted to be out. The whole Raiders team did not want to be there because of Josh McDaniels, and now it's like, anyway, yeah, I don't. But the thing is, though, that's bullshit because what I hate where the league has gotten, and this is throughout pretty much all sports except maybe hockey, is that you can just, if you don't want to be on that team, you're getting traded for a bag of chips just so they don't have to deal with you anymore, or you're gonna hold out or not play. Like it's not right that these players have as much power as they do in turn when they signed a contract. Like, you signed a fucking contract. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It blows my mind that the whole league isn't just 1 year fucking 10 or 30 for quarterbacks, at least 1 year, $35 million fucking contracts left and right. And then obviously according to your fucking salary per position, like, they're not just all 1 year deals. Cause it's crazy that these guys, they act like it. They sign 5-year deals and they're like,
dude,
I'm going to go somewhere else for a fucking 3rd round pick. Jalen Ramsey, get the fuck out of here. That's
crazy. I think you're right. I think that NHL is probably the only league that doesn't happen in, unless it's like we had Jacob Verana, we traded him for a bag of chips, sick player, but he had a drug problem. So it's like, that's the only way.
Yeah,
it's not going to be like
reasons.
Jacob Verana's like, I want out, and then he gets to leave.
Exactly.
That's not how shit flies in the NHL.
And it's like and that shit. It's like, and a lot of times in like the NHL, where it's like you get rid of a guy like Patrick Kane, we got a nice haul, but we didn't get a sick haul for the guys we moved. But it's
Yeah.
like that's either you do this or you get nothing for it when you're a fucking bottom dweller of the league. This shit is like, oh, you're our best player. You know, we're the Rams. We had everybody and their mother hurt last year. Literally, their entire team was hurt last year.
Yep.
Oh, my best secondary player doesn't want to be here anymore. It's either he doesn't play or we get a 3rd round pick. I'd say fuck you. Don't play then. Don't play.
Dude.
Sit on the bench. Sit on the
And I
bench,
don't-
and you don't get we don't, and then we don't get shit for him at the end of the day. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I would be petty as fuck if I was a GM. I would be so petty. I'd be like, don't play then, pussy.
Yeah,
Uh,
see ya. You'd be kicking people
see
to the
ya.
curb and feel good about
Yeah.
it.
Definitely. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. Fucking football, man.
We could go NFL all day,
Oh,
and I would.
so we could, and we'll go another 2 minutes because I want to know
Yeah.
if you had heard
We'll get back
anything
into
about.
it in April too in the draft time.
Yeah, of course. But are we seeing movement at all out of Lamar Jackson? Or do you? And I also found out some new news about that. That you know that in order to match that, you have to give up 2 first-round picks too.
Yes, I did know that.
I didn't know that
We talked about that a little bit in the group chat because I didn't know
Yeah.
that either.
because we talked about it a little bit on
Shout
here
out to
last
Jim.
week, and
Jim pointed that out.
because we talked about it on here last or 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I was like, how is nobody? I was like, how is nobody fucking trying to get this guy? And then I was like, oh well, 2
It's those
first-round
picks.
picks. Yeah, that's a lot.
A,
That's
not
a
many
lot.
teams have the capital. B, the teams
Exactly.
that do have the capital are like, we're gonna get our own shit. Like we're good.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, no.
That's kind of the
it makes-
position the Lions are in. Is like, we're
Yeah.
good. You know.
No, yeah, for sure. That makes way more sense to me. Fuck all that. You can go sign
Yeah.
him next year and keep your fucking 2 first-round picks. You know.
Well, the guy's an asshole. Get an agent. Like, don't be an
Yes,
asshole. You can't do
that
this
too.
by yourself. You just can't.
Yeah,
And he
no,
was
that's
like
very
bragging
fair.
on Twitter today about his last deal, and it was like, dude, that wasn't a good deal. Like, and you're gonna get fleeced again this time, probably, because at some
Yeah.
point people are just gonna be like, well, we're not gonna fucking sign you because we're not gonna
Well,
give
he's
you that
gonna
amount of money.
He's gonna pull the Le'Veon Bell. He's gonna hold out and end up going to get way less money with the Jets instead of the fucking Steelers. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Happens every
God.
time. So,
Oh, it does too.
but I think we're both in pretty happy spots with our teams right now. If
I'm
I had to
excited.
guess, I'm excited
looking-
also.
Looking forward to draft talk. Shit's gonna get heated here soon, especially with the move the Bears made. That shook everything up. It helped the Lions. So thank you, Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like it.
we'll get into that in depth, big time. We'll start naming names in
Yeah.
April.
It's gonna get real. I mean, to anyone who's listening right now, it's probably gonna be like 3 or 4 straight weeks of sports, unfortunately, until the next draft.
Yeah, which I am very hard about.
Yeah.
Because this is the best time of the year. It's the fucking best time of the year. Speaking of the best time of the year, were you in a school where when March Madness came on, you had like a cool teacher and you were able to watch games in high school?
No,
No? Not even
No.
one?
no,
Really?
no, dude.
Jack, did you
fucking
have that?
Way older than you. You don't even know, son. This is Nazi Germany back where I was.
I absolutely had that. At Heritage, there was a bunch of them, and I think even at Nouvelle, who was the guy at Nouvelle that was doing that jazz, Bob?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Mr. Novak always had stuff like that on, but I don't think you had him.
I didn't have him because I was a freshman
Not
and I
smart.
wasn't in marching band like you were.
That's true. Somebody's got to
Well-
play the trombone.
I also don't think we didn't have like cable, and we also didn't have a bunch of smartphones when I was in high school.
Bro,
Like-
you are not fucking 75. We didn't have
Bro.
the radio.
Yeah,
We didn't have-
we just listened to it.
We didn't have. Well, that would have been that's a whole different story. We didn't have like cable in our school, so you couldn't watch it, and we didn't have smart. Dude, bro, the first smartphone I had, it was like a HTC, the one with the little fucking rolly ball on it. You couldn't watch fucking.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, and I was 16, bro. I had a BlackBerry until fucking the end of sophomore year. Like I don't know what. we didn't have iPhones until like
We
I
didn't
didn't
really.
have an
I mean, we
iPhone
had
until I was a
iPhones.
senior.
We had iPhones in high school. Like we didn't have them. I mean, Nouvelles
Yeah,
like has
but
a bunch of rich kids, so some of the rich kids had iPhones, but yeah, we just go in and they'd have it on. We had the newer projectors junior and senior year in high school, so like they'd just project the game
yeah,
and it'd
see, we
be
didn't have
nice and clear.
we didn't have like the actual like they didn't have Comcast in the school. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
even like the base channels because I know a lot of the tournament isn't even on like
it's on
premium
True
cable,
TV.
right? Yeah, it's
You got to
stupid
go
shit.
find that. You got to have a weird package to get
The
most of
True
these games.
TV thing is honestly that's the most confusing channel because it's like ABC, CBS,
Yeah,
whatever, and then True TV, and you're
they
like,
gave up the bag. They said we
dude,
want in on this action.
I
We're
was
True
gonna say
TV.
like they're like, dude, we don't make shit for money
Oh, yeah,
for literally 11 months out of the year,
Right.
but come March, bro, we're
we
making it all
fucking
up.
clean up for 3
Yeah,
weeks in March.
Huh,
Good for them.
yeah, 100% True TV, dude. That shit is funny, bro.
Yeah, because I saw people on Twitter, they'd talk about like, teachers would roll in the Rolly TV.
Mhm.
And that's when I kind of thought, I was like, you got to be hooked up to
That's what I'm
cable.
saying. Yeah.
So I don't know how well the Rolly TV was working unless you had like a Chromecast on it, but I don't think those were
Yeah.
invented yet.
They're just watching like old
Yeah.
games, recycled games.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like-
on the fucking VHS.
yeah,
Yeah,
I bet Christian Leitner hits the shot at the end. Like,
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
I saw this one dude was showing the Iron Bowl from that one year, like the crazy kick return shit, the field goal return or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
He
saw
was showing it to his girlfriend, and she was
Yeah.
like real amped about it because she thought it was like being played at the time, but he
Yeah.
like just showed her a couple weeks ago.
an all-time prank. I should when I'm married, I'm just gonna have old games running constantly at times that they should be on, and just confuse the shit out of my wife.
That's awesome. I love
Okay, but you guys want to get into some stats here?
that. Sure, dude.
'Cause-
I'm sure there's some. I do you have what in
You
terms
know what I
of like
got.
goofiness. I know, but in terms of like goofiness, do you have any, or are they all like, oh, this does this when this happens, or what kind of stats are they? Are they
Um,
just plain ass like, oh, this team is this against the spread, or 11s and 12s win at least 2 games a year? Like,
No, I actually
we
don't
got?
have any of those. I have a lot of national champion stats, kind of like what I had last year, where like, okay, only these teams can win it based on these stats.
Okay. Okay.
right?
All right. Yeah.
These are
These
I'm
are
gonna
the
show
worst
you.
stats.
They're the worst
because-
stats unless you want to win your bracket. For
No,
gamblers,
no.
they're not fun.
Exactly. They're the worst stats because for one, then you're like, because where my head went last year was like, all right, I'm putting money on every one of these teams to
Mhm.
win. I didn't do that because I was trying to be responsible, but in my head, I'm like, oh, then I'd go and bet, and I'm like, oh, well, this team's gonna win for sure. So, because Bob said it, and that didn't happen.
And you know what's funny is that last year, like the main mold, and I'm gonna give it to you again this year, got broken.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that it like your big dick stat didn't cut it last
The
year. That's
biggest
what I
dick
thought.
stat missed
Yeah.
last year for the first
Oh.
time in 25 years, 97.
Jesus.
Before
Ah.
like, and it might not have happened before then, but that's when KenPom started recording stats. It was 97.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
All right,
I do.
Let's
love these
rapid
stats, so
fire
let's
through
go.
these
Come on.
things.
Yeah.
Okay. First stat. I'll give you a couple of. We'll go a couple of softer ones first. So in
Excuse me.
the 64 team era, 64 teams in the tournament,
Mhm.
36 teams have entered the tournament as a 1 or a 2 seed that weren't ranked in the preseason poll. So going into the season, they were not ranked at all, and now in the tournament they have a 1 or 2 seed. Those 36 teams that have went from preseason unranked to a 1 or 2 seed in the poll or in the tournament have never made a Final Four, and they're averaging less than 2 wins. There are 2 teams that fit that bill this year. One, it's going to shock nobody, it's Purdue. 2 is a team that some people have going far, Marquette. So basically, is what it's saying is watch for Purdue and Marquette to basically win
Get
one game.
bounced.
It's hard for them to win 2 games.
Okay.
Okay? On to the next.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 tournaments,
Purdue
there have
was
been
unranked going into the season.
unranked going into the season.
I guess the Big Ten was real weird to start the year. Okay, that makes sense.
And they lost Jaden Ivey, lottery pick. So they still had Zach Edey, though.
Oh,
It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah,
Jaden Ivey went to Purdue.
yeah. I in my head when you said Jaden Ivey, I was like, hold on, he got hurt because he did go down in the. I thought he got hurt in that Big Ten championship game the other day, like for a little bit. So I got. Oh no, that was Sasser from Houston. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll
Sasser
shut
from
up.
Houston got hurt.
Yep. Go
Yep.
ahead. My bad. I'm breaking shit up. You're good.
Over the last 10 tournaments, there have been, on average, 9 upsets in the first round. So if you're looking at your board and you're thinking, okay, Thursday,
shit's
Friday, how
insane.
many upsets do I have? You need to have around 9 if you're filling out a bracket, or if you're gambling and you're doing the entire board, which I'd like to do Thursday, Friday. So make sure you got 9 upsets minimum between Thursday and Friday in the first round.
Okay. How often are they 9 or 10 seeds? Is the real question. Do you know?
That I don't know. That'd be a good one to look up, though.
Yeah.
See what
Okay.
seed they are. But there's 9 upsets. They could be any seed.
Yeah. All right.
100% of national champions since 2004 were ranked top 12 in the week 6 AP poll. So week 6,
the fuck out of here.
isn't that a fun one? Isn't that a fun one? So week 6 in the AP poll, if you take a look at it, I'll run down the list for you. Number 1, Purdue. Number 2, Virginia. Number 3, UConn. Number 4, Bama. 5, Houston. 6, Tennessee. 7, Texas. 8, Kansas. 9, Arizona. 10, Arkansas. 11, Baylor. 12, Duke. So one of those 12 teams, since 2004, 100% of the time has won the national championship.
That makes sense. This
Yep.
year, at least. I like most of those teams.
Yep, and we already told you about Purdue, so you could pretty much cross that one out. And there's some trendy teams in there that we'll eliminate some more with this next stat.
All right.
This is the actually we'll go the altered stat that lost last year last. So 100% of national champions since 1993 have made their conference tournament semifinals. And there are a bunch of teams that fit this bill. So you have to have made your conference semifinal to win the national championship since 1993. The teams that fit that mold: Arizona, Marquette, Mizzou, UCLA, Purdue, Creighton, UConn, Memphis, Tennessee, or TCU, Virginia, Indiana, Xavier, Miami, Houston, Penn State, Kansas, Iowa State, St. Mary's, Texas A&M, Arizona State, Texas, Duke, Bama, Zaga. All those teams made the semis of their conference tournament, which means they have a chance to win the title. But now we get to the stat that eliminates almost everybody. The stat that lost last year. And I'll tell you why it lost. So last year, listen to the distinction here. Last year, I gave you the trend that every national champion in the Ken Pom era, starting in 1997, finished top 40 in offense and top 25 in defensive efficiency. The distinction this year, thanks to Kansas last year, is 100% of national champions since 2002 have been both a top 40 Ken Pom offense and a top 22 defense. Not top 25 defense, top 22 defense. The teams that fit that mold: Creighton, Houston, UCLA, Kansas, Bama, Texas, UConn. Some teams that you don't see on there: Purdue. Some teams that you don't see on there: Gonzaga. Some teams that you don't see on there: Arizona. So a couple of big names, big seeds that are not on this list. And if you kind of go through every list or every one of the trends that I gave you today, the 6 teams that can win the national championship, you heard it here first on the Fair Enough podcast, are Houston, UCLA, Kansas, Bama, Texas, and UConn. Those are your 6.
Okay.
Pause for
okay,
applause.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is that so the 6 teams are UCLA, Kansas, Houston,
Houston, Bama,
Bama, UCLA, Texas,
Texas, UConn.
UConn.
Those are the
okay, I forgot
6.
UConn.
Yep.
So you're saying that a 1 or a 2 seed is probably gonna win unless it's UConn at 4.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
That's correct.
I saw there was a prop. I saw Barstool Sportsbook was, it was like plus odds for a 1 or a 2 seed to win this the Stanley Cup. Jesus Christ, to win the national championship.
It was plus
And
odds. We
was
should hammer
plus odds, and I was like, dude, this year when I was looking at everything, I'm like, dude, like, I personally, I like Houston, I like Kansas. Those were like my 2 teams. I mean, that's not saying much. Like, obviously, everyone kind of likes Houston and kind of likes Kansas somewhere along the way. But
Mhm.
like, I like Houston, I like Kansas. Those are like my 2 teams. And I was like, dude, one of those teams are gonna win it, so I was gonna hammer it. But now you're over here just giving me. You're just making it seem way easier, bro. Like, hopefully this doesn't get to the books because they're gonna change all the lines, man.
The books know this. It's about the people. It's about the people getting the knowledge. It's the people that are putting money on Gonzaga that don't know that they have no chance to win it.
Well, I feel like Gonzaga really Gonzaga is one of those teams that really fucked everything up because they allowed them to be number 1 for so goddamn long over the last couple of years, and it's like, dude, they're fraudulent. They played a bunch of shit teams every fucking day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and it kind of
they
corrected here. I mean, now they're a 3 seed.
yeah, which rightfully, but their record isn't as good though. The last couple of years they went
They went 30. They
undefeated
had
and
30 plus
yeah,
wins. Now they're 28-5 this year, in a
yeah.
little bit tougher, I would say. WCC. St. Mary's
Mhm.
was good this year. San Francisco gave everybody a run. So
San
there are a few teams.
San Francisco might be one of the most fun teams to watch in the country.
Dude,
No joke.
you know what their nickname is? I just learned this the other
God
day.
damn it.
I
I
was
do
watching.
know it. I do know it. What is it? It's something
It's
dumb.
the Dons.
The Dons, dude. I was gonna say the Ponies, and I was like, that's not it. But it's something stupid as fuck.
The San
Yeah, the
Francisco Mac Dons.
Yep.
Ain't
Dumb.
that sweet?
It's hilarious. Ain't that sweet? He says.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys want some? You want some trendy Cinderellas?
Sure, dude.
Let's jump in. All right, the team that everybody's talking about. Let's start with them. My team. The oral
Who's
version
that?
of me. Oral Roberts.
Oh, I did not even catch it. I'm like, what is he talking about? I thought you were just being nasty, dude.
Oral Roberts is a college. It's a university. I don't know
Okay.
where it is. But Oral Roberts, let me give you 3 stats. They lead the nation in 10-0 scoring runs per game. Anybody that watches college basketball consistently knows that it is a sport of runs like no other sport that we have. It's 10-0 here, 10-0 here, 10-0 here. And when you're in the tournament, you want to be a team that is capable of going on runs, because if you're not, you're going to get left behind. So Oral Roberts leads the nation in 10-0 scoring runs per game, and they have 31 this year, which is kind of an insane stat. Oral Roberts shoots the 3. They're top 30 in 3-point percentage, and they're also top 30 in the 3-point attempt rate. So we know that they're going to go on a lot of runs, and a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that they're jacking 3s and they're making them. Lastly, they have a top 40 offense in the country, and that's led by Max Abmas, who was in the tournament last year and kind of tore it up. He's got 22 points a game, which is pretty significant in college basketball. So
Yeah, that's really high in college basketball. He's got to be top 5 in the country, no?
yeah, I would assume so. I don't know the exact
I mean,
stat on that, but not many
22
guys are
is
over
high.
20. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
Jalen Wilson at Kansas averaged 19.8. So that tells you like,
Yeah.
okay, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's not
exactly.
there. It's like the
Yeah.
Brandon Millers and the Max Abmas, the guys. There's only a couple guys above 20.
Mhm.
All right, so Oral Roberts, fun pick. Another fun pick that everybody's kind of jumping on. Charleston. Shout out to Jim Costa, my colleague, for these stats, by the way. 30 attempted threes per game for Charleston. That's number 1 in the nation, which the team that's jacking up the most threes is always kind of a sexy pick. Bama was there a couple years ago, and that was literally all they did. They still kind of do that under Nate
Yeah.
Oates, but Charleston is 12th in offensive rebounding percentage. They just get a bunch of extra possessions every game, essentially is what that means. And they're top 50 in pace of play. So they're playing fast. They jack a bunch of threes. And if they miss that 3, they're getting the rebound. So Charleston, fun team. They play San Diego State to start. So not a crazy difficult matchup either. Look out for the College of Charleston Cougars. Last but certainly not least, shout out to my roommate Newman. For Kent State, I guess something they say down there is Kent Reed, Kent Wright, Kent State. Shout out to the Golden Flashes. So the Golden Flashes are tied with Gonzaga and Houston in the final 5 minutes of the season. They were tied with both of those teams in the final 5 minutes. So they're a team that was battle tested this year and pushed a couple of the top teams to the brink. They're 10-1 in their last 11. They have a guy, not Max Abmas status, but pretty damn good player in Sincere Curry. Curry's a nice last name to have, especially at a smaller school. 17 points a game this guy has. And then they're 38th in defense. So they're a top 40 defensive team, which we know Ken Pom loves in the tournament. And they're also 23rd in forced turnovers. So they're playing good defense, and a lot of that comes by way of making people make mistakes, getting the ball back. So those are my 3 big ones. You got Oral Roberts, the College of Charleston, and Kent Reed, Kent Wright, Kent State.
Did you know that Kent State was in Ohio?
Yes. I only know that because we're so close, but
Yeah, I didn't
Dude,
know that
I knew
until
that-
recently.
I went to Siesta Key my senior year of high school for spring break, and my buddies and I were out like real late one night, and we met these chicks that were like freshmen at Kent State, and we hung out like the entire night. And that is when I discovered that Kent Reed, Kent Wright, Kent State was in Ohio. I was like, son of a gun. There
nice.
we are. Yeah.
You just
Here we
bumped
are.
into some Kent State folk.
Couple Rockets. It's pretty much the CMU of Ohio, or maybe like the Michigan State / CMU of Ohio.
Could they read or write? Or was that
I
unconfirmed?
don't know. They could
No.
have boobs though.
But they could fucking strip the chrome off a fucking trailer.
Yak wasn't really concerned about the reading or writing portion of the test on
Yeah.
spring break.
Nope.
Did they
It was
pass
right
the eye
around-
exam?
Yes, they sure did with flying colors.
That
2012.
was right around the time that the expression was "what that mouth do" came
Yeah.
around.
That mouth do.
Yeah, dude. it
Was
that
invented on spring break
2018 time, yeah.
2018, yeah.
I mean, that's about that time.
It is. It is.
Oh, That's
So
funny.
we got a couple more tidbits here. I'm gonna give you a homer pick.
okay.
Also, shout out to the Michigan Wolverines completely fucking up everything and missing this tournament. God, they're such a bad basketball team.
That dude, honestly, it's insane. I can't believe it. Like that is insane that they
The
didn't make
recruiting
tournament.
class that they had and then what they turned it into is so
Yeah.
nobody will see you at the NIT. They play tonight, and somebody at work asked me if I was going to watch it today, and There's a lot of things I'd rather do than watch Michigan in the NIT.
I thought they
Boy.
declined it.
No, North Carolina declined it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Michigan was doing anything to play some more basketball. They need the practice. So a team that I like, a homer pick, is the Drake Bulldogs. They are a 12 seed at 27-7. They balled out last year. I'm not sure how they did in the tournament last year, but they made it and they balled out. And they lost a guy this year, their point guard, Joseph Yesufu, who went to Kansas. Pretty nice place to transfer, so you know that people are coming from Drake. But they have a couple of good guys like Roman Penn, and the other guy's name escapes me, but Drake, trendy, fun pick. They got Miami first, who Jim Larinaga and the Miami Hurricanes can't win games in the tournament for whatever reason. So they get Drake.
Didn't
Indiana.
Miami go to the Final Four last year? Or the Elite Eight?
Yeah, I think they went to the Elite Eight last year. That was like the first time they ever made a push.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, no, I'm not saying that. I mean, it's just funny how you say it after they had like their best result.
And that's
ever.
almost how I know it will never happen again. Like they already used their get out of jail free card last year.
Yeah, all right, I get it. That's fair.
So Drake, and then I guess all the other ones that I like, I've said already over just those trendy Cinderellas. But Drake would be the one where I think they can make a push because the one seed in that bracket's Houston, and I think they're kind of vulnerable, especially if Sasser goes down again. Who knows? They're one of those teams that could win it. So
I just, can win it is just such a. I just don't think they could, man. I mean, who was it a couple years ago? Was it UConn? Was it UConn that was like an 8 seed that won it or some shit like that?
Yeah, UConn was real deep.
But like that was like the biggest one that we've seen in a while, man. It's tough to see anything higher than a fucking 5 win, man.
It is, and that's why those 6 I gave you pointed it out. They're 1s and 2s outside of UConn, who's a 4.
And that's the thing. So, but like, I mean, I think like the first, it's fun. Those teams, like those 3 trendy, like the little picks that you have, like those, I like that for like the first round. Yeah. All right, you win a game, and then it's like, all right, you're probably not gonna do shit else.
Right.
I watched like some TikTok because obviously right now all there is people putting out their betting tips and this, that, and the other thing. But it was like if you bet like every, I think it's like 11, 12, 13 team. If you bet all of them against the spread or something like that, or no, I think it was to win, that like you're plus money like every year for the last like 6 years or something like that.
Damn. That's
not like a lot, but it's like I think they win. They say that you win like at least 2 or 3 of those a year. Yeah. And it's like that is enough to warrant a fucking, a positive day on that in terms of betting, which it's like that's kind of crazy, man.
Well, those are the 3 seeds that upset the most. I think 12 is the most. I think the 12-5 game is the most upset, but 11, 12,
that's
13
what I'm saying.
Are all in the realm of possibility all the time.
And you have to think that in terms of betting, you're sitting at least like plus 200-300 when you're in
for money line. Fuck yeah!
If not, you know what I mean. If not better, so it's like if you win 2 of them,
keeping all units the same, you should be up.
Yeah,
that's a good
it's
one.
Kind of I definitely am gonna throw that one, throw that together and make it happen.
I saw something. I don't know if you guys already talked about this at all, but I saw this video of these guys that last year they bet like almost every single game to go to overtime, and they won a shit ton of money because a lot of the games the odds were so low that it like covered the money that they placed on the teams that didn't actually go to OT. But what a wild fucking thing to do. You're just blanketing the whole tournament in overtimes. Because, I mean, there's a lot of games that do go to OT, but what a wild way to bet.
In the first round, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, at least do it in the fucking round of 64 there, round number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. That's
no, I don't either.
Like fucking.
I don't know what the odds are on if it goes to overtime. Do you think they're like what, plus 300 at least?
Oh, it's got to be more than that. It's probably it's probably like plus 500. I don't know. Either way, though, it's like fuck.
Well, keep
maybe like
that
at
one.
least
Keep that one in your back pocket for sure if you're
yeah,
listening. And
maybe like one day, maybe not like the whole round, but like one day. Like okay,
yeah. Final four picks.
I don't have the bracket up
That's all
right
right.
now. I put it away.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what is gonna happen anyway.
Okay.
I got Bama coming out of the South. I've got Duke coming out of the East.
You just no. You
What?
just talked about fucking Oral Roberts, and
Yeah.
aren't they playing Duke?
Yeah, they are. I think if Duke wins that game, they're going to the Final Four.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
If they
Duke
win that
loses,
game,
chaos ensues.
okay.
Yes, I still love Oral Roberts, but I just think like if Duke
And they can still
win,
cover the spread.
yeah, I
They
think
can
they
still
will.
cover the spread technically.
But yeah, if Duke wins that game, like that's the Purdue
That's-
bracket, that's the Marquette bracket, USC, Michigan State. Like it's just not
Yeah.
crazy sound, and Duke is very underseeded from what everybody's been saying at 5. So they have a relatively not a nonchalant road, but the one being Purdue is huge for them. So I got
don't
Bama.
think Shire is a good enough coach to get it done. To be honest,
We'll
with you.
see. He's a young motherfucker, dude. Guy's like
I
barely
know,
older
but-
than us. He was playing for the
I
team in
know.
09.
I know. Just
So
saying.
Bama, Duke
I'm a
on the
Duke
left
guy.
side. And then
Okay.
I've got Texas, top right in the Midwest. That's the Houston bracket. And then I've got, right now, it's either UCLA or UConn. I can't make up my mind. I'm going UCLA. I know that they just lost their center, but they still have that Jaquez kid. They still have Tiger Campbell. Like, they still have a lot of good players that were there last year and have done this Final Four thing already. So I have tentatively, as of right now, UCLA beating Bama in the national championship. But if the wind blows, I could switch that to UConn and UConn winning the national championship in 2 seconds. Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins, take a look at UConn. Watch them play. Watch them play that first game against Iona. That should be like a decent game with Rick Pitino's squad. And tell me they're not a fun team to watch. They're going to be a darling. That's what I got.
I don't know, man. I don't know why. I don't know why my nutsack says Kansas is gonna win it all again. So
They're not. They're on the list. They're of the
no,
6.
I know. That was like the one team where I was like, is anyone gonna beat this team coming down to the wire in terms of like I don't know. Like I think they got talent to fuck with everybody. They got the coaching, which I think helps a lot.
It does.
And,
They're
boy,
just in
Billy,
that region, the West region. It's
is
Kansas, dude. Arkansas or Illinois. Either one of those teams in their second game is going to be tough. St. Mary's is in there. UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. Like, there's just no break in that.
No,
in that
yeah,
West region.
it's definitely no break. You're
There's
not
no
wrong
game
about
off.
that.
That's
But
I like watching Kansas play. Jalen Wilson's sick. Like I said, they got Yasafu coming off the bench now. Like they have a sick team again.
yeah,
Tough road. Tough to go back to back. Tough road. That's the only reason I didn't put them in the Final Four.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I get it, and yeah, I think the back-to-back thing is the biggest thing in my head where I'm like, well, maybe not, just because how hard is it to do that in any sport nowadays, let alone fucking the tournament.
Who would you have if you had Kansas in the national championship? Who would you have them playing?
Probably Bama.
Yeah.
Honestly, just like how you said, it's kind of like that. What is the region with Purdue in it?
That Purdue is the East with Duke
The
and Marquette.
East is kind of not that great.
No.
And then so it's like if they do get to the Final Four, I don't see it like being as if like on the other side where you have, UCLA, Kansas, Texas, Houston, like you got UConn, you got like legit, you're like, okay, like you said, every single game is no joke. I know that whoever makes the Final Four is no joke, no matter what, but I think Bama is good enough to kind of handle anybody that's in the East.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
They run the fuck out of the floor and like they're just efficient when the basketball when they do, and Brandon Miller's the best player in the country.
I just don't know how. My thing is I hate putting 2 1s in the championship, and
Yeah.
like right now my head says Bama Kansas, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, if that's a.
But
It
you
just seems to
also
never
said that's
happen,
what
though.
happened. That's what happens,
No,
dude. It's ones
I
and
you know
twos. Unless there's the occasional UConn. There's always there's a stat out there too, and I'm sure there was just one that I didn't have or find or write down today, but there's always a 3 or a 4 or something in the Final Four.
in the Final Four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's one team that's not a 1 or a 2.
yeah, usually.
So take a look at that stat if you're looking to go into the Final Four of your bracket. But yeah, that's what we got for you today. Any other thoughts? Any other predictions?
I'm predicting that I drink way more than you this weekend. That's what I'm predicting.
We basically, so I'm going to Chicago this weekend. We did this last year. The boys and I went out to Chicago for the first weekend of the tournament. It's a fucking riot. Shout out to the Barstool River North. We had a great time there. Shout out to the country bar that I don't know the name of. We had a fantastic time there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find them all again this week. But yes, so happy Wednesday and Thursday to all of you. The Fair Enough boys will be together. I think last year was we were basically going back and forth tequila shots.
I mean, yeah, dude. I don't know until I think I got lost at one point. I'm pretty sure I was wandering around for a minute.
You
Or
definitely
we went
did.
to that piano
lost.
bar and
Yeah,
I
you were
couldn't get
gone.
in. Remember
Yeah.
the guy? He wouldn't let me in, dude.
That
He
guy was a
wouldn't let
prick.
me in.
And
Yeah, and I was like,
that bar sucked. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was like,
people in.
dude,
It's like, dude, you
I
need
was like,
people
there's
in
nobody.
here.
Yeah, there's nobody here, and I was like, my friends are right there.
And I should have just told him, I bet when that guy walks in, if he doesn't drop $100 at the bar in the first 10 minutes, then you can kick me out because I know he's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
He's giving you money. He's one of
100%.
your best customers, and you're not letting him in because he's a little
Absolutely.
drunk. He can't stand up. Big fucking deal. He's got one shoe, so what? Let him in.
Yeah, but this shit should
What,
be
you're
fun.
too good for us? You need both your shoes all the time, fuck face?
Yeah, dude.
Take
fucking
a step back.
piano bars.
Stupid.
Snooty.
But
Potentious.
yeah, in terms of college basketball, I don't really have much predictions. I kind of checked out really early this year. I was like, dude, I'm gonna pay attention so hard.
I didn't really do that either this year. I wanted to do the same thing, and I didn't do it until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I do the first 2 weeks I was in it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and then I just kind of fell off, and the NBA started getting in my way a lot, and I'm like, fuck. So now I'm like, just kind of like, I didn't do. I have been offered 1,000 pools to get into. Like, oh, do you want to get into this pool? And this, I'm like, you know what? I don't. Like, I don't want to do a bracket.
Yeah,
I'll probably do a free one or whatever, but I'm not gambling a lot on it until it's actually game day.
Yep.
And then
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I think gambling game to game has kind of taken some of the fun out of the bracket. I'm still going to be forever a print off the bracket and write shit down guy just because it's fun to do that. But I think gambling game to game has taken some of the luster away from jumping in a bracket pool. I did do the only pool that I'm in is a player pool. So we had to pick 15 players. Each guy has 15 players. Random, it could be any team that you want that's in the tournament. The team of 15 with the most points at the end wins the pot. So if I pick Amos from Oral Roberts and they lose to Duke, he might have scored 22, but that's all he's going to get,
Yeah.
So you want to pick guys with teams that are going to go far, but then once you start getting down to the nitty-gritty, you want to pick the top guys from the bad teams or teams you think you'll make a run. I have a bunch of guys from Drake because I think Drake might make a run,
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. It's definitely something different.
It's a little different. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good luck this weekend. Always gamble responsibly. 1-800.
If you're in the River North,
number.
Yeah. If you're, did you say you don't know 1-800-GAMBLER?
No, 1-800-GAMBLER is the number.
I was like,
if you get to that point this weekend, give them a ring.
Yeah. If you're in the River North area, come say hi. We'll meet somewhere.
Yeah, shoot
It
the
is St.
fellas a
Patrick's Day
DM.
too. So
Yep,
if anyone's downtown bebopping around, let us know.
give us
And
a shot.
yeah,
We'll see you.
for sure.
We'll see you St. Patrick's Day. Like I said, good luck everybody this weekend, and hopefully these tips and tricks help you a little bit. At least you know that the 6 teams that are going to win it, so you can bet that way. Yeah, good luck to everybody in the gambling front. We will see everybody for episode 61 next week. That is a Fair Enough podcast. Love you.
Deuces.
Love ya.